His hand slips, then tightens again, fingers digging into the girl's arm like he's afraid she'll vanish if he loosens up. She tries to pull back, but he yanks her forward through the crowd. The boy stumbles behind them, boots dragging in dirt packed with hoof prints and spit. The air smells like sweat, animals, and something sour that sticks in the throat. People turn to look, but no one steps in. No one ever does. Hold still. You're hurting me. Good. Means you're still here. Papa, where are we going? Somewhere better. You're lying. Don't talk back. His breath is thick with whiskey. His eyes don't settle on anything for long. He keeps moving, like if he stops, something will catch him. The boy reaches for his sister, fingers shaking, and finds her hand. He grips it tight. Don't let go. I won't. Their hands lock like it's the only thing left that belongs to them. Around them, voices rise and fall. Men arguing over cattle, women counting coins. A baby crying somewhere, sharp and constant. The twins don't cry. Not yet. A man leans against a fence post, watching them pass. He spits into the dirt and smirks. Selling stock or sins tonight? The father doesn't stop. Doesn't even look at him. Both. The word hangs there, dry and heavy. The man laughs, low and ugly, like he's heard something funny that no one else gets. The twins don't understand the joke, but they feel it press against their ribs. The wagon stands ahead. Rough wood slats, stained dark with age. A rope hangs loose from the side. The father shoves the girl forward first. She stumbles, catching herself on the edge. The boy tries to climb in after her, but the man grabs his collar and lifts him like he weighs nothing. Up you go. I can do it. Didn't ask. He drops the boy inside. The twins press together, backs against the wood. The wagon creaks under their small weight. It doesn't feel like something meant for people. Papa. The girl's voice cracks this time. He pauses, one foot still on the ground. For a second, it looks like he might turn around, like he might see them. He doesn't. Sit quiet. Why? Because I said so. The boy leans closer to his sister, whispering so low it almost disappears. This ain't right. I know. Should we run? She looks at the crowd, at the men, at the horses, at the way no one is looking at them anymore. No. Why? Because he'd find us. The boy swallows hard. He nods, even though it doesn't make anything better. The wagon shifts as the father climbs up beside them, then back down again, pacing like he forgot what he was doing. Voices start gathering near the front. A small platform. A man in a clean coat steps up, brushing dust from his sleeves. He looks out over the crowd like he owns it. The auctioneer clears his throat. All right now, let's keep it moving. The father steps forward, pushing through bodies until he's near the platform. He turns back once, squinting at the wagon like he's checking something he already sold in his head. The girl tightens her grip on her brother's hand. Don't let go. I said I won't. The boy nods, eyes locked on their father, waiting for something. An apology. A smile, anything. Nothing comes. A man beside the wagon mutters to another. They look young. Everything starts young. Still feels wrong. Then don't bid. The first man shrugs, looks away. The auctioneer raises his hands. Let's see what we got tonight. He gestures toward the wagon without looking directly at the twins, like they're just another lot. The father steps closer to the platform. Strong pair. They ain't cattle. They eat less. A few men chuckle. The sound crawls over the twins like insects. The boy leans in closer. Close your eyes. Why? So they can't see you break. The girl hesitates. Then she shuts them. Tight. Her hand squeezes his until it hurts. He doesn't pull away. I'm right here. I know. The auctioneer lifts his voice, louder now, practiced and sharp. What's the opening bid? Silence stretches for a moment. Then murmurs ripple through the crowd. Boots shuffle. Coins jingle. The father wipes his mouth with the back of his hand. He doesn't look at the wagon anymore. A man calls out. $5. Another voice follows. 7. The boy opens his eyes just enough to see the shapes moving. Faces he doesn't know. Faces that don't know him. 10. The girl whispers without opening her eyes. Tell me when it's over. It ain't over. What does that mean? I don't know. The crowd shifts again. Someone laughs. Someone spits. Someone argues about the price like it's grain or horses or anything else that doesn't feel. At the edge of it all, near the far fence, a man stands still. Hat low, shoulders square. He hasn't moved since they arrived. Dust gathers at his boots like he belongs to the ground more than the people. He watches the wagon. He watches the twins. He says nothing. 15. 17. The auctioneer grins, sensing momentum. Come on now, don't be shy, the boy's voice cracks. Make it stop. I can't. You always can. Not this time. The girl opens her eyes, just a little, enough to see the crowd bending toward them like something closing in. Papa. He doesn't hear her, or he pretends not to. The man at the fence finally shifts. One step forward, then another. Slow, measured, like each movement costs him something. The auctioneer points. Do I hear 20? Silence again. Thick this time. Waiting, the cowboy lifts his head just enough. 20. The word cuts clean through the noise. No echo. No laughter after it. Just quiet. The crowd turns. Some squint. Some father exhales, almost like relief. Take 'em. The boy feels his sister's grip tighten, then steady. He doesn't understand what just changed, only that it did. Who is that? I don't know. The cowboy doesn't step closer yet. He just stands there, eyes fixed on the wagon. Not soft, not kind, but not looking away either. The auctioneer nods, already moving on. Sold. The word lands heavy. Final, the father turns his back before it settles. The word sold still hangs in the air when the noise comes rushing back. Boots scrape. Coins clink. Someone laughs too loud, like they missed the moment and are trying to catch up. The twins stay pressed together in the wagon, not moving, not speaking. The girl watches the place where their father stood, but he's already gone, swallowed into the crowd like he was never there. The boy shifts closer to her, their shoulders locked tight, both of them breathing small, shallow breaths. They're too young. The voice comes from somewhere near the fence. Another answers quick. Everything's got a price. They ain't cattle. They are tonight. The words move through the crowd like a quiet agreement. No one argues after that. The twins hear it all. They don't understand every part, but they understand enough. The girl lowers her head, hair falling over her face, hiding her eyes. The boy keeps looking out, like if he watches close enough, he can find a way out of this. A man steps up to the wagon, resting his arm on the side, like he's inspecting something he might buy later. What's wrong with them? They look sick. They're fine, another man says. Just scared. They'll grow out of it. The boy's jaw tightens. He leans closer to his sister, voice low. Don't listen. I can hear them anyway. Then don't believe it. She doesn't answer. Her hand finds his again, fingers cold but steady. He squeezes back, harder this time, like he's trying to push strength into her. The auctioneer wipes his brow and calls out to the next group, already moving on, already forgetting. But the space around the wagon hasn't cleared. Men linger. They talk like the deal isn't finished, like something still needs settling. 20's a steep price. Not if they are useful. They look small. They'll work. The girl finally speaks, barely above a breath. We're not working. The boy turns to her, eyes wide. Don't say that. They can hear me anyway. Still, a shadow falls across the wagon. The cowboy steps closer now, boots quiet against the dirt. Up close, he looks older than he did from the fence. Lines cut deep into his face. His eyes don't move much, but when they do, they settle hard. The boy watches him carefully. You bought us. The cowboy doesn't answer. Why? Silence. Are we going somewhere? Still nothing. The girl studies him, her fear shifting into something else. Not trust, not yet, but something that keeps her from looking away. Do you talk? He glances at her. Just once? Yes. His voice is low, rough, like it hasn't been used much. The sound of it makes both of them go still. The boy leans forward. Then say something. The cowboy looks past them, toward the crowd, like he's checking who's still watching. Get down. Why? Because I said. The boy hesitates. You sound like him. The cowboy's eyes flick back, sharp. I'm not. The girl moves first. She climbs to the edge of the wagon and lowers herself carefully, bare boots hitting the dirt. The boy follows, slower, keeping one hand on her shoulder the whole time. They stand close together, facing the man who bought them. "What now?" the boy asks. The cowboy doesn't answer right away. He reaches into his coat, pulls out a folded piece of paper, and hands it to a man standing nearby. The man nods, barely looking at it, then walks off. "That it?" the boy asks. "That's it," the cowboy says. "That easy? Nothing's easy." The girl looks past him, scanning the crowd again. "Where's our father?" "Gone. He didn't even say goodbye." The cowboy's jaw tightens, but he doesn't speak. The boy swallows hard. "He'll come back." "No," the girl says. "You don't know that." "I do." He looks at her, searching for doubt. He doesn't find any. Around them, the crowd starts to thin. Deals are done. People move on. The noise fades into something distant. Like it's happening somewhere else now. A man passing by mutters under his breath. $20 for 2 mouths. Cheap, if you ask me. The boy hears it. His face hardens. "We're not mouths." The man keeps walking. Doesn't answer. The cowboy turns, starting toward the edge of the yard. He doesn't look back to see if they follow. The boy hesitates. "What if we don't go?" The girl answers before the man can. "Where else would we go?" He doesn't have an answer. He looks around one more time, hoping to see something familiar. There's nothing left. "Come on," she says. They follow. The ground feels different outside the crowd. Quieter. The sounds of the auction fade behind them, replaced by the creak of wagons and the soft snort of horses tied nearby. The cowboy stops beside a dark horse already saddled. "We riding?" the boy asks. "Yes." "Both of us?" "Yes." The boy frowns. That's not safe. The cowboy looks at him. Neither is staying. The girl steps closer to the horse, reaching out but stopping just short of touching it. "Will it kick?" "No." "You sure?" "Yes," she nods, trusting that much at least. The cowboy lifts her first, setting her in front of the saddle. Then he helps the boy up behind her. "Hold on," he says. "We know how," the boy answers. "I mean it." They both wrap their arms tight. Around each other, around whatever they can reach. The cowboy swings up behind them, steady and controlled. For a moment, no one moves. Then he clicks his tongue softly, and the horse starts forward. As they leave the yard, the boy looks back one last time. He didn't even look. The girl leans her head back against him. "Don't! I just wanted to see." He's gone. The cowboy keeps his eyes ahead, posture straight, hands firm on the reins. His face doesn't change. No anger, no pity. Just something heavy sitting behind his eyes. The boy watches the road ahead now. "Where are we going?" the cowboy answers without looking back. "Home." The word lands straight. The horse keeps a steady pace, hooves pressing a rhythm into the dirt road as the auction fades behind them. The boy feels every step through his legs, through his chest, like the ground is trying to say something he can't understand. He doesn't look back anymore. The girl sits stiff in front of him, her back straight, her hands gripping the saddle horn like it might disappear if she lets go. The cowboy rides silent behind them, his presence heavy, not loud, but not easy either. The boy listens for his breathing, for any sign he's still there. It's slow, even, like nothing has changed for him at all. "Where are we going?" No answer. The boy waits a moment, then louder. "Where are we going?" Still nothing. The horse keeps moving. The road stretches ahead, empty and long. "Are you deaf?" The girl turns her head slightly. "Don't! He's ignoring us." Maybe he didn't hear. He heard. The cowboy doesn't react. His hands stay firm on the reins, guiding the horse without looking down at them. "He won't talk," the boy says. "Maybe he can't," the girl answers. "He spoke before. Maybe that's all he had." The boy frowns, unsettled. He shifts a little, trying to see the man's face without turning too obvious. All he catches is the edge of his jaw, tight, unmoving. "You said home." The boy tries again. "Where is that?" "Nothing." The girl exhales slowly. "Stop asking. I need to know. We'll know when we get there." "That's not good enough. It has to be." The boy presses his lips together. He doesn't like that answer, but he doesn't have another one. The road curves slightly, leading them past a line of dead trees, their branches bare and crooked. The girl stares at them as they pass. "This place feels wrong. It's just trees." "No, it's quiet." The boy listens. She's right. No birds, no wind through leaves. Just the sound of the horse. Maybe nothing lives here. Everything lives somewhere. Not here. The cowboy shifts slightly behind them, adjusting his grip. It's small, but they both feel it. He heard that, the boy whispers. Good, the girl says. They ride on. Time stretches. The sun dips lower, casting long shadows across the road. The boy's legs start to ache, but he doesn't complain. He won't give the man anything that sounds like weakness. The girl leans back just enough to rest against him, not fully, just enough to share the weight. I'm tired, she says. Me too. Don't fall. I won't. You better not. I said I won't. The horse slows slightly as the road narrows. The cowboy finally pulls the reins, bringing them to a stop near a dry stretch of land. No houses, no fences. Just open ground and silence. Why are we stopping? The boy asks. The cowboy swings down first. His boots hit the dirt with a dull sound. He reaches up and lifts the girl down, then the boy. His touch is firm but not rough. He steps back, giving them space. The boy looks around. This isn't home. No, the cowboy says. Then what is it? Rest. The girl crosses her arms. We didn't ask to stop. You needed it. We didn't say that. You didn't have to. The boy studies him, confused. You been watching us? Yes. For what? To see. See what? If you'd break. The girl stiffens. We're not breaking. The cowboy doesn't answer. He walks a few steps away, checking the ground, the horizon, like he's measuring something only he understands. The boy lowers his voice. I don't like him. I know. He's not right. He's not lying. That doesn't make him safe. No. They stand there for a moment, unsure what to do with their hands, their feet, their fear. The cowboy comes back, stopping a few feet from them. He looks at them properly now, both of them, like he's finally decided to see what he bought. Names? The word comes out low, almost like it costs him something. The boy frowns. Why? So I know what to bury if needed. The girl's breath catches. Her eyes sharpen. We're not dying. The cowboy holds her gaze. Says nothing. The silence stretches too long. We're not, she repeats. Still nothing. The boy steps slightly in front of her. You don't get to talk like that. I just did. We're not yours. The cowboy tilts his head a fraction. You were. Not anymore. Then prove it. The boy doesn't answer. He doesn't know how. The girl steps beside him again, refusing to stay behind. You don't need our names. Everyone has one. Not for you. The cowboy watches them, something unreadable in his eyes. Suit yourselves. He turns away, walking back to the horse. The conversation ends just like that. No argument, no force. Just a door closing. The boy exhales, tension leaving him in a slow wave. That was wrong, I know. He's talking about burying us. He's talking about death. That's worse. The girl looks at the ground, then back at the man. He's seen it. What? People dying. Everyone's seen that. Not like him. The boy follows her gaze. The cowboy stands by the horse, one hand resting on the saddle, his head slightly lowered. For a second, he looks like he's somewhere else entirely. You think he's dangerous? Yes, more than the others. She thinks about the auction. The men, their father. No. Then what? Different. The boy doesn't like that answer either. We should run. Where away? Into what? He looks around again. Empty land. No cover, no direction. We'd get lost. Or found. By him. They fall quiet. The cowboy mounts the horse again without calling them. He just waits. The girl moves first. We're going. The boy hesitates. We don't have to. Yes, we do. Why? Because he's not chasing us. That's supposed to make it better. It makes it honest. The boy doesn't argue this time. He lets her climb up, then follows behind her. The cowboy doesn't help now. He just watches until they're settled. Ready? He asks. The word feels strange coming from him. No, the boy says. The cowboy nods once. Good. He turns the horse forward. The road ahead is darker now, the light fading. The twins hold on tighter, not just to each other, but to the only direction left. No names given. The horse slows before the house comes into full view, like it already knows where it is and doesn't want to get any closer. The twins feel it first through the shift in its steps, then they see it. The house sits low and wide, wood-warped and dark, Windows clouded over like they forgot how to let light in. The porch leans to one side. One board hangs loose, tapping softly against the frame with each small push of wind. The boy tightens his grip around his sister. "That's it?" The cowboy doesn't answer. The girl stares hard at the place. "It looks empty." "It's not," the boy says. "You don't know that. I do." The horse stops. No one moves right away. The silence around the house feels different than the road, thicker, like it's waiting. "Get down," the cowboy says. The girl slides off first, landing steady. The boy follows, slower, eyes still fixed on the house. The cowboy dismounts last, tying the reins to a broken post without checking if it will hold. "This is home?" the boy asks. "For now." "For how long?" The cowboy looks at the door. "As long as it takes." The girl steps forward, then stops just before the first step. It's watching. The boy looks at her. "It's a house." "No," she says, "it's not." The cowboy walks past them, boots creaking on the porch boards. He pushes the door open without knocking. It drags against the floor, a long, low sound that fills the space between them. Inside, the twins hesitate. "Do we have to?" "Yes." The boy glances back at the open land behind them. "We could stay out here." The cowboy looks over his shoulder. "No, why not?" "Because I said." The girl moves first again. She steps onto the porch, each board answering under her weight. The boy follows close, not letting the space between them grow. Inside, the air feels colder, still, like it hasn't been moved in a long time. The room is dim, light slipping in through cracks and broken edges. Dust hangs in the air, not drifting, just sitting there. The boy looks around, trying to understand what feels wrong. Then he sees it. "What's that on the wall?" The girl turns. Marks stretch across the wood, scratch deep, uneven lines that don't follow any shape he knows. "Don't touch it," the cowboy says. "It looks like don't." The girl pulls her hand back, though she hadn't reached out yet. Her eyes stay on the marks. "Who did that?" No answer. The boy steps closer to her. "It's just scratches." "It's not." "You don't know that." "I do." The cowboy moves through the room, setting his hat down on a table that tilts slightly to one side. He doesn't fix it. He doesn't clean anything. He just stands there for a moment, looking at nothing. "This place feels wrong," the boy whispers. The girl nods. "It's not quiet." "It is." "No," she says. "Listen." He does. At first, nothing. Then something small, a faint shift, a soft knock from somewhere deeper in the house. Not loud, not clear. "But there, you hear that?" The boy stiffens. "Yeah," the cowboy speaks without turning. "Old wood." "That's not wood," the girl says. "It is." "It's not." The cowboy finally looks at her. "It is." The way he says it ends the argument, but not the feeling. The boy moves closer to the center of the room, scanning the corners. "Anyone else live here?" "No." "Before us?" The cowboy's eyes flick once toward the floor, then back up. "Yes." "Where are they now?" "How?" No answer. The girl walks slowly toward the far wall, where the marks grow thicker, deeper. Some of them look like they were carved over and over again, like someone kept going back to the same spot. "Why would someone do this?" The boy shakes his head. "Maybe they were crazy. Or scared," she says. "Of what?" She looks around the room. "This." The cowboy steps forward, stopping her from getting any closer. "Enough." She looks up at him. "Why?" "Because you don't need to know yet." "Yet?" He doesn't answer. The boy exhales sharply. "You keep doing that." "Doing what?" "Stopping before it makes sense." The cowboy studies him for a second. "It'll make sense." "When?" "When it has to." That's not an answer. "It's the only one you're getting." The boy looks away, frustrated but quiets. The girl steps back from the wall, her eyes still fixed on it like she's trying to memorize every line. "What rooms are ours?" she asks. The cowboy points down a narrow hallway. "Second door." "Both of us?" "Yes." The boy nods. "We stay together." "Good." They move down the hall, their steps slow, careful. The floor creaks under them, each sound louder than it should be. The door is slightly open. The boy pushes it wider. Inside, two small beds sit against opposite walls. Thin blankets. No pillows. "It's cold," the girl says. "It's fine." "It's not." The boy looks back toward the main room. "Do we sleep now?" The cowboy's voice carries from behind them. When it's dark, the girl frowns. It's already getting dark. Then you sleep. The boy hesitates. What about you? I don't. Ever? No. The girl steps back into the hall, looking at him. Why not? The cowboy picks up his hat again, turning it once in his hands. Stay inside at night. Why? He looks at them, eyes steady, voice flat, because something doesn't. The words land heavy. The house feels smaller suddenly. The boy glances toward the front room, then back at his sister. What doesn't? The cowboy doesn't answer. He puts the hat back on. The house settles into darkness without ever feeling like it sleeps. The twins lie in their separate beds, eyes open, listening. The boy counts the creaks, trying to make sense of them. The girl doesn't count. She listens for the one sound that doesn't belong. It comes again, faint from beneath them. A dull knock, not wood shifting, not wind. Something else. She sits up. You hear it? Yes. It's under us. Could be pipes. There are no pipes. The boy swings his legs off the bed. The floor is cold. Don't start. I'm not starting. You are. It's right there. The sound comes again. A soft thud, then a scrape. The girl stands. There's something under here. The boy grabs her wrist. Leave it. No. He tightens his grip. No, she pulls free. We don't leave things. We should. We didn't before. That was different. Was it? He doesn't answer. The house breathes around them. The hallway waits. They step out together, moving back to the main room. The marks on the wall look darker now. The table leans the same. The cowboy sits in a chair near the door, hat low, eyes open. You're awake, the boy says. I said I don't sleep. The girl points to the floor. There's something under here. Old house. It's not wood. Everything's wood. Not that. The cowboy watches her, then looks at the boards where she stands. Leave it. No, the word is firm. He doesn't move. I said leave it. You said a lot of things, and you're still here. We want to know why. You don't. We do. The boy steps beside her. We hear it. You hear a house. We hear something else. The cowboy exhales slow. Back to your room. No. Now. No. Silence stretches. The girl drops to her knees and presses her ear to the floor. The boy does the same. Another faint knock answers them. There, she says. The boy looks up. That's not wood. The cowboy stands, chair scraping. Get up. Help us, she says. No, why? Because you don't dig up what you can't put back. The boy pushes himself to his feet. Then you know what it is. The cowboy doesn't answer. You know, the boy repeats. The girl stands and looks at the edges of the boards, searching. There's a seam. Stop. She runs her fingers along a thin line where two planks meet. Right here, stop, he says again. No, the boy looks around, finds a loose iron tool near the wall, something left behind, half rusted. He brings it over, kneels, and wedges it into the seam. Don't, the cowboy says. We're already doing it. The boy pushes down. The wood groans. The girl steadies the board with both hands. Again, he pushes harder. The plank lifts a little, enough to catch. Again, the wood gives a sharp crack, then a slow rise. Dust spills out, thick and dry, carrying a smell that doesn't belong to empty space. The girl coughs, then leans closer. There's something under here. Leave it, the cowboy says, but his voice is thinner now. No, they pull the plank aside. Darkness sits beneath, not deep, just a shallow hollow carved out of the dirt. The boy reaches down, hesitates. Don't touch, the cowboy says. The girl already is. Her fingers brush something smooth, not wood. She pulls back. What is it? She grips and lifts. A shape comes up through the dust, pale in the low light. A bone. Thin. Human. The boy's breath stops. That's a hand. The girl stares at it, then lowers it gently back. The room goes quiet. The cowboy stands still, eyes on the open space, on what's been pulled into the air. Who did you bury? The boy asks. No answer. Who is she? The girl repeats. The cowboy steps closer, slow, like each step is heavier than the last. He looks down into the hollow, jaw tight. Who? The boy says again. The cowboy's voice comes out low. My wife. The word lands hard. The twins don't move. The girl swallows. You buried her here? Yes, under the floor. Yes. Why? Silence. The boy looks from the hole to the man. Did you kill her? The question hangs there, sharp. The cowboy doesn't look up. No. The girl studies him. You hesitated, I answered. That's not the same. The boy points at the hollow. Then why is she here? Because this is where she stayed. That's not what I asked. The cowboy finally looks at them. It's what you're getting. The girl shakes her head. No, the boy's voice hardens. You don't get to bury someone and then not explain it. I just did. You said her name, not the truth. The cowboy's eyes flick back to the hole. Close it. No, now, no. The girl steps between him and the opening. We opened it. You close it. We're not done. You are. We're not. The boy stands beside her. We're not. The cowboy looks at both of them, something shifting behind his eyes. Not anger. Something else. Something older. You don't understand. Then make us. The girl's voice doesn't shake. Make us understand. The cowboy looks down again into the hollow where the bone rests. She spoke, he says. About what? The boy asks. About them. Who? The ones with the badge. The room tightens around the word. What happened to her? The girl asks. The cowboy's jaw clenches. They didn't like it. That's not an answer. It is. It's not enough. It has to be. The boy looks at the bone again. She died because she talked. The cowboy doesn't deny it. The girl kneels, gently placing the plank back over the opening, not sealing it, just covering it enough to quiet the sight. We're not done, she says. I know. The cowboy answers. The house creaks again, softer this time. The sound from beneath doesn't come back. The girl stands. She's still here. Yes. Why? The cowboy looks at the floor. Because they never let her leave. The boy feels something settle in his chest. Not fear, not fully. Something heavier. They, he says. The cowboy nods once. They're still here, too. The plank rests loose over the hollow, not sealed, just covering what they all know is still there. No one moves to fix it. The room feels tighter now, like the truth has taken up space. The twins stand across from the cowboy, not backing away this time. The boy watches his hands. The girl watches his face. She spoke out. The cowboy says, Against who? The boy asks. The badge. The word lands heavier than before. The girl tilts her head slightly. The sheriff? The cowboy nods once. What did she say? She asks. What everyone knew. Then why say it? The boy cuts in. Because knowing ain't the same as saying. The boy exhales through his nose. So she said it. Yes, and they killed her. The cowboy doesn't answer, but he doesn't deny it either. Didn't anyone help? The girl asks. They watched. Everyone. Enough. The boy shakes his head, anger creeping in. That don't make sense. It does, the cowboy says. How? Fear makes sense of a lot of things. The girl steps closer, her voice steady. We won't. The cowboy looks at her then, really looks. Not quick, not passing. His eyes stay on her like he's trying to measure something he hasn't seen in a long time. You don't know what you're saying. I do, you don't. We won't watch, she says again. The boy stands beside her. We didn't before. The cowboy studies both of them. You were children. We still are, the boy says. Then act like it. No. The room falls quiet again. The boards creak under their weight, a slow, uneasy sound. What did she say? The girl asks again. The cowboy looks toward the wall with the marks. She said names. Whose names? Men who wore that badge. All of them? The boy asks. Enough. What did they do? The girl presses. The cowboy's jaw tightens. What does that mean? It means they didn't ask. The girl's face hardens, and nobody stopped them. No, not even you, the boy asks. The question hits sharper than the others. The cowboy doesn't answer right away. I tried. Tried what? The boy says. To make it quiet. That's not helping, the girl says. It was all I had. The boy steps forward. You buried her instead of them? The cowboy's eyes lift, cold now. I buried what was left. Silence stretches again. The girl looks at the floor, at the loose plank. She didn't get justice. No. Then why stop? She asks. The cowboy looks past her like he's seeing something that isn't there anymore. Because I couldn't win. The boy shakes his head. That's not true. It is. You just stopped fighting. I didn't stop. Then what is this? The boy gestures around the room. This is waiting. For what? For the right time. The girl studies him. You've been waiting a long time. Yes, and nothing changed. No, then it's not working. The cowboy exhales slowly. It kept you alive. We weren't here, the boy says. You are now. The girl takes another step forward. Then don't tell us to be quiet. I'm telling you to be careful. That's not the same. It is when you want to live. The boy looks at her, then back at the man. What happens if we talk? The cowboy answers without pause. They come. Who the ones who stayed? The sheriff? The girl asks. Yes. And the others? Yes. The boy's hands curl into fists. Good. The cowboy's eyes narrow. No, why not? Because you don't understand what comes with them, then. Tell us, the girl says. The cowboy shakes his head once. You'll see soon enough. That's not good enough, the boy says. It's all you're getting. The girl looks toward the wall again, at the deep cuts in the wood. She made those. The cowboy follows her gaze. Yes. Why? To remember. What? Every name. The boy steps closer to the wall now, tracing one of the marks with his eyes, not touching it. She carved them in. Yes. So they wouldn't be forgotten. Yes, and you left them there. Yes. Why? The boy asks. The cowboy's voice lowers. Because I couldn't say them out loud. The girl turns back to him. Then we will. The words come quick, firm. No, he says. You don't know them, we'll learn. You don't know what that means. We do, she says. The boy nods. We do. The cowboy steps closer now, the space between them closing. It means they hear you. Good, the boy says. It means they come for you. Let them, the girl answers. The cowboy stops, just a step away from them. He looks at the girl again, longer this time. Something shifts in his face. Not anger, not fear. Something like recognition. You sound like her. The girl doesn't look away. Good. The word lands softer than expected. The boy glances between them. She didn't stop either, did she? No, the cowboy says. And look what happened, the boy adds. The girl turns slightly toward him. And look what didn't. What? They didn't silence her, she says. The cowboy watches her, eyes steady. They buried her, but they didn't erase her. Silence follows. The house creaks again, but it feels different now. Not just empty, not just waiting. The boy looks at the plank on the floor. She's still here. Yes, the cowboy says. Then she's still speaking. The girl adds. The cowboy doesn't answer, but he doesn't argue either. The boy exhales slowly. What do we do now? The cowboy looks toward the door, then back at them. We stay quiet. No, the girl says. We watch, he continues. No, we wait. No, the cowboy's voice hardens. You listen. The girl steps closer, her voice calm but firm. We act. The room holds that word like it's something dangerous. The boy feels it too. Something building, something that wasn't there before. You're going to get us killed, the cowboy says. The girl doesn't flinch. Then we die standing. The boy looks at her, then back at the man. We won't watch, he says. The cowboy studies them both again, longer this time, ice and stretches, but it doesn't feel empty anymore. He nods once. Slow. Not agreement. Not yet, but not refusal either. The last word still hangs between them when the sound comes from outside. Hooves. Slow at first, then steady. Not one horse. More. The boy turns his head toward the door. The girl doesn't move, but her eyes shift, sharp. The cowboy stands still, listening, like he's been waiting for this sound longer than they've been alive. They heard us, the boy whispers. No, the cowboy says. They were coming anyway. The hooves stop just outside. Leather creaks. A man clears his throat. Then knuckles hit the door, not hard, but certain. Open up. The girl steps forward. Don't. The cowboy moves past her, placing himself between them and the door. Stay back. The boy leans closer to her. That's him. You don't know that. I do. The knock comes again, sharper this time. I said open up. The cowboy reaches for the latch but doesn't pull it yet. If you speak, he says low. You choose it. Choose what? The girl asks. What comes after? The boy swallows. We're already in it. The cowboy opens the door. Light spills in, cutting the room in half. A man stands there in a worn coat, a star pinned to his chest. Two others wait behind him, hands resting near their belts. The sheriff steps in without asking. Took you long enough. The cowboy doesn't move. Wasn't expecting company. You never are. The sheriff's eyes shift past him, landing on the twins. He smiles, but it doesn't reach his eyes. There they are. The girl steps out from behind the cowboy. We're not hiding. I see that, the sheriff says. The boy stays close to her. Who are you? The sheriff taps the star on his chest. Law. That's not a name, the boy says. It's enough. The cowboy's voice cuts in. What do you want? The sheriff doesn't look at him yet. I want what's mine. They belong to the county, he says, eyes still on the twins. They belong to no one, the cowboy answers. That's not how this works. It is now. The sheriff finally turns to him. You forget yourself. I remember enough. The men behind the sheriff shift slightly, watching, waiting. The boy leans toward the girl, voice barely there. He's the one, isn't he? The cowboy doesn't deny it. The girl's jaw tightens. You're the one she spoke about. The sheriff tilts his head. She? The woman under the floor. Silence hits the room like a dropped weight. The men behind him glance at each other. The sheriff's smile fades just a little. You've been digging where you shouldn't. She was buried, the girl says. Lots of people are. Not like that. The sheriff steps closer. You don't know anything about it. Then tell us, the boy says. The sheriff chuckles. I don't answer to children. You sold us, the boy says. No, the sheriff replies. Your father did. You let him. I allowed a legal exchange. We're not things. Everything's a thing to someone. The cowboy steps forward, closing the space. They're staying. The sheriff looks at him, eyes flat now. You think you bought them out of reach? I didn't buy them. You paid for them. That's not the same. It is in my book. The girl steps beside the cowboy. We're not going with you. The sheriff looks at her, studying. You don't get a say. I do now. You don't. The boy adds, voice steady. We remember. The sheriff's eyes flick to him. Remember what names? The room tightens again. The cowboy's shoulders shift slightly, like he's bracing. The sheriff smiles again, thinner this time. Careful. Why, the girl asks. Because words have a cost. So does silence, she answers. The sheriff glances at the wall, at the carved marks. You found her work. She made it, the girl says. She made trouble. She told the truth. The sheriff exhales through his nose. Truth don't matter without power. Then why are you here, the boy asks. The sheriff looks back at him. To remind you who has it. He takes another step forward. The men behind him move with him, filling the doorway. You come quietly, the sheriff says, and this stays simple. And if we don't, the girl asks, it won't. The cowboy's voice lowers. You're not taking them. The sheriff looks at him again. You think you can stop me? I know I can try. That didn't work last time. The words hit hard. The cowboy doesn't react, but something in his posture tightens. You buried her. The sheriff continues, and called it justice. I called it survival. You call a lot of things what they're not. The boy steps forward just a little. You killed her. The room goes still. Even the men behind the sheriff stop shifting. The sheriff's eyes lock on the boy. You don't know that. I do. You were there? No. Then you don't know. The girl cuts in. He didn't deny it. The sheriff looks between them, then back at the cowboy. You been talking. Not enough, the girl says. The sheriff laughs once, short. That's your mistake. No, she says. Yours was thinking no one would. The sheriff's hand moves closer to his belt. Last chance. The cowboy doesn't move. Leave, that's not happening. The boy feels his heart pounding, loud in his ears. He doesn't step back. We're not going. The girl stands firm. No one owns us. The sheriff looks at her, something darker settling in his face. We'll see. The room holds its breath. The badge on his chest catches the light, dull but sharp at the edges. The boy stares at it, then at the man behind it. It doesn't look clean. It looks like it's been through something. It looks like it remembers. The sheriff's hand still hovers near his belt when a sharp crack cuts through the air outside. Not a gunshot. Something older, dry wood splitting. Everyone freezes for half a second. Then another sound follows, low and hollow, like something giving way beneath weight. What was that? One of the men behind the sheriff mutters. The boy turns toward the back of the house. It's outside. The girl is already moving. Wait, the cowboy says. She doesn't. I'm not waiting. She slips past the sheriff before he can stop her. The boy follows close, brushing against the man's coat. The cowboy moves last, slower, watching the sheriff as he passes. Stay inside, the cowboy says. No, the sheriff replies. I want to see. They step into the yard. The air feels tighter than before. The ground behind the house dips slightly. A circle of old stones marking something the twins didn't notice when they arrived. The wood cover that once sat over it lies broken. One half caved in. The boy says. The girl steps closer, peering down. It's open. Back away, the cowboy says. No, the sheriff walks up behind them, looking over their shoulders. That's been sealed for years. Not anymore, the girl says. The boy leans forward, careful, squinting into the dark. I can't see. The cowboy moves beside him, grabbing the rope tied to an old pulley. Don't lean. I'm fine. You're not. The girl takes a breath. There's something down there. Water, one of the men says. No, she answers. Not water. The cowboy lowers the rope slowly, the pulley creaking with each turn. Hold it steady, he says. I am. The rope goes slack for a second, then stops. It hits something, the boy says. Pull, the cowboy replies. They pull together, slow, careful. The rope comes up heavier than it should. Dirt flakes off as something breaks the surface. The boy's breath catches. That's not a bucket. The shape comes into the light. White, smooth, not wood. Not stone, the girl steps back, her voice thin. There's bones down there. How many, the boy asks. She looks down again, forcing herself. Too many. The sheriff's face tightens, but he says nothing. The men behind him shift uneasily. Could be animals, one of them says. No, the cowboy answers. How do you know? I know. The girl's hands shake, but she doesn't step away. They're people. The boy swallows hard. Who? The cowboy grips the rope tighter. The ones no one came back for. The sheriff steps forward. That well's been abandoned. Not abandoned, the girl says. Used. The word lands hard. The boy looks at the bones again. Then at the sheriff. You knew. The sheriff shakes his head once. You're reaching. Am I? The boy says. The girl turns, eyes locked on the man. You buried them. I didn't bury anyone. You let it happen. That's not the same. It is. The cowboy keeps pulling, bringing more up. Another piece. Another shape. Each one worse than the last. Stop! One of the men says. No, the cowboy replies. That's enough. It's not. The girl steps closer again, staring into the well. This isn't over. Her voice trembles, but she doesn't pull back. The cowboy glances at her, then back at the rope. No, he says. It's just been quiet. The boy looks at him. You knew about this. I suspected. And you didn't check? I did. And? They filled it back. The sheriff exhales sharply. You're spinning stories. The cowboy drops the rope, letting it hang. Then climb down. Silence. No one moves. Go on, the cowboy says. See for yourself. The sheriff doesn't answer. The girl points at the bones. They're real. That don't prove anything, the sheriff says. It proves enough, the boy answers. The wind picks up slightly, carrying a dry smell from the well. It settles over them, thick and wrong. Why here? The girl asks. The cowboy looks at the circle of stones. Because no one looks down. The boy shakes his head. We are now. The sheriff steps back just a little. You're making trouble. No, the girl says. We found it. You're digging where you shouldn't. It was already open. The cowboy looks at the broken cover. They didn't seal it right. Or someone opened it, the boy says. The girl glances at him. You think they knew we'd come? No, he says. I think they got careless. The sheriff's eyes narrow. You think this changes anything? Yes, the girl answers. It doesn't. It does. The boy steps closer to the edge again, staring down into the dark. How many? The cowboy doesn't answer right away. Enough to fill it. The boy closes his eyes for a second, then opens them again. They all had names. Yes, and no one said them. No. The girl looks back at the house, then at the sheriff. We will, the sheriff laughs, but it sounds forced now. You don't know what you're saying. I do. You're children. We're witnesses. The word lands heavy. The men behind the sheriff shift again, uneasy. That don't mean anything, one of them says. It will, the boy answers. The cowboy reaches for the rope again, wrapping it around his hand. We're not done. With what? The sheriff asks. Pulling it out, the cowboy says. And then? The cowboy looks at him, eyes steady. Then we stop being quiet. The girl nods, her fear still there, but something else rising with it. This isn't over. The well sits open behind them, dark and deep, holding more than it shows. The house watches from a distance. The badge catches the last of the light, but it doesn't shine. It looks heavier now. The air around the well doesn't settle after what they found. It sticks to their skin, like something invisible refuses to leave. The sheriff stands a few steps back now, no longer reaching for his belt, just watching. The men behind him don't speak. Even they look different now, like the ground beneath them isn't fully solid anymore. The girl stands near the broken stone ring of the well, her hands clenched but steady. The boy stays close to her shoulder. The cowboy is a few steps behind them, silent, like he's waiting for something he already knows is coming. We're done here, the sheriff says finally. No, the girl answers immediately. The sheriff lets out a short laugh. You don't decide that, I do now, she says. The boy looks at her, surprised, but doesn't interrupt. The sheriff shakes his head. You're just a child. She turns to him fully now. I won't be traded. The words cut through the space between them. No hesitation, no shake in her voice. The sheriff narrows his eyes. You don't get to choose. I do now. The boy steps slightly forward. She's right. The sheriff looks at him like he's disappointed. Both of you need to understand something. We do, the girl says. No, he replies. You don't. The cowboy shifts his weight behind them but stays quiet. The sheriff points vaguely toward the house. This is how things work out here, always has. Not anymore, the girl says. That's not your call. It is if I say it is. The sheriff's smile returns, but it's thin, sharp at the edges. You think saying it makes it real? Yes, she says. It does. The boy looks at her again. There's something in her voice he hasn't heard before. Not fear, not anger alone. Something steadier. The sheriff exhales through his nose. You were sold once already. The girl doesn't flinch. The sheriff tilts his head slightly. And you think you get to refuse now? I'm not refusing, she says. I'm ending it. The boy nods slowly. We both are. The sheriff looks at the cowboy. You gonna let this happen? The cowboy doesn't answer right away. His eyes stay on the girl. I'm listening, he finally says. The sheriff scoffs. You're listening to a child. The girl steps forward again, closing the space. I remember everything. The words land heavier than anything before. The boy looks at her. What do you mean? She doesn't take her eyes off the sheriff. I remember the wagon. The sheriff's expression tightens slightly. I remember the hands. The cowboy's jaw clenches, but he doesn't interrupt. I remember the numbers, she continues. $5, 7, 10. The boy's face hardens. I remember being told to be quiet. She says. The sheriff tries to cut in. That's enough. No, she says, it's not. Her voice rises slightly, but still controlled. I remember the floorboards, the rope, the silence when people watched and didn't move. The sheriff takes a step forward. You don't know what you're talking about. I do, she says instantly. Better than you do. The boy steps beside her again. She remembers everything you thought she wouldn't. The sheriff's face tightens further. You're twisting things. The girl shakes her head. No, I'm naming them. The word hangs in the air. The cowboy watches her closely now, like he's seeing her for the first time, instead of the child he picked up at the auction. The sheriff gestures sharply. This ends now. No, the girl says again. It already ended. You just didn't notice. The sheriff laughs once, but there's no humor in it. You think you can stand here and rewrite how this works? I'm not rewriting it, she says. I'm refusing it. The boy looks at her again, quieter now. She's not lying. The sheriff's voice sharpens. You don't refuse the county. I just did, she says. Silence falls immediately after. Even the wind feels like it stops. The sheriff looks at the cowboy again. You brought this into my land. The cowboy finally speaks fully. No, he says. You brought it here yourself. The sheriff's eyes narrow. You picking a side? The cowboy doesn't answer fast. His eyes stay on the girl again. I already did, he says. The sheriff looks between them, slowly realizing the shift. You think this changes anything? The girl answers before anyone else can. Yes. The sheriff steps closer again, but slower this time. You're still just one voice. The girl doesn't back up. I'm not alone. The boy steps closer to her shoulder. Neither am I. The cowboy shifts slightly behind them, still not moving forward, but no longer behind the sheriff either. The sheriff notices it. A small pause, a crack in control. The girl speaks again, softer but sharper. You can't trade me anymore. The sheriff's expression tightens. You already were. I was, she says. Not anymore. The boy nods once. Not anymore. The cowboy's voice is low. She's not wrong. The sheriff stares at him. You really letting this go there? The cowboy holds his gaze. It's already there. The sheriff looks at all three of them now, like he's recalculating something he thought was already finished. The girl takes one last step forward. I won't be sold. The boy adds, I won't either. The cowboy doesn't speak this time. He just stands with them. And for the first time, the sheriff has no immediate answer. Only silence answers her now, and it does not belong to him anymore. The sheriff doesn't leave after the silence. He stands there like he's waiting for the silence to apologize. But nothing does. The girl holds her ground. The boy stays beside her. The cowboy is still behind them, not closer, not farther, just present like something that can't be removed. Then one of the men behind the sheriff speaks low. They're digging it up. The sheriff's jaw tightens. Let them. The boy looks up immediately. What? The sheriff doesn't even look at him. Let them dig, he repeats. The girl narrows her eyes. You think that stops us? The sheriff finally meets her gaze. It'll stop everything. The cowboy shifts slightly. No, he says. The sheriff turns to him. You disagree? Yes. The sheriff lets out a short breath. You don't understand what you're opening. The girl answers before the cowboy can. We already opened it. The sheriff gestures sharply toward the well, toward the house, toward the ground itself. That wasn't all of it. The boy stiffens. What else is there? No one answers immediately. The wind moves through the yard again. Slower now, like it's listening too. The sheriff finally says, Things buried for a reason. The girl steps forward. Then we'll find the reason. The sheriff shakes his head. Your children playing in rot you don't understand. The boy's voice tightens. We understand enough. The sheriff laughs once. No, you understand pieces, not systems. The cowboy speaks quietly. Systems break. The sheriff looks at him sharply. Not this one. The girl points back toward the house. It already is. The sheriff's expression darkens. You think exposing bones changes law? The boy answers instantly. Yes. No, the sheriff says. It just gives it noise. The girl doesn't flinch. Good. The sheriff studies her again. You're not afraid. I was, she says, before I knew what it was, and now I know what to fight. The boy nods. We're not going back. The sheriff looks at both of them, then past them toward the cowboy. You taught them this? The cowboy doesn't answer. The sheriff shakes his head slowly. This will burn everything down. The girl steps forward again. Good. That single word lands heavier than anything before it. The sheriff looks almost irritated now. You think burning it makes you free? The girl answers without hesitation. Yes, the boy adds, because staying made us worse. The sheriff exhales sharply. You don't even know what you're standing against. The cowboy finally speaks again. They do now. The sheriff turns to him fully. You siding with them means war. The cowboy's voice stays level. It was already war. You just called it order. A long pause follows. The wind shifts again. Dust lifts near the broken well. The house creaks behind them like it remembers more than it shows. The boy looks up at the girl. "Will it stop?" he asks. She doesn't answer right away. She looks at the sheriff, then at the cowboy, then at the ground. "I don't know," she admits. The boy looks uneasy. The sheriff shakes his head. It doesn't. The cowboy finally answers the boy. "No." The boy looks at him. "No, no," the cowboy repeats. The girl turns slightly toward him. "What does that mean?" The cowboy looks at the ground where the well sits, where the bones were pulled from, where the earth still feels wrong. "It means once you open it, it keeps opening." The sheriff nods slightly, like that's the only honest thing anyone has said. The girl doesn't step back. Then we keep going. The sheriff watches her closely. "You think this ends with you?" "It starts with us," she says. The boy stands taller beside her. "And it ends with us deciding." The sheriff's expression tightens again. "You don't get to decide history." The girl answers immediately. "We already are." The cowboy looks at her again, something unreadable in his face, like recognition mixed with something heavier. The sheriff takes one step back, then stops. "They're digging up everything." One of the men mutters again behind him, quieter this time. The sheriff doesn't correct him. The girl hears it anyway. "Let them dig," she says again. The sheriff looks at her like he's trying to find fear somewhere in her face and failing. "It'll destroy everything," he says again, slower now. The girl nods. "Good." That word repeats again in the air, but now it feels different. Not just defiance, something final forming inside it. The boy looks at the cowboy again. "It won't stop," he says. The cowboy meets his eyes. "No," he answers. The boy frowns. "Then what happens?" The cowboy looks at the house, the well, the land around it, all of it sitting too still. "Everything that was buried," he says quietly, "comes up." The girl looks at him. And then, the cowboy doesn't answer right away. The sheriff speaks instead. Then nothing stays the same. A long silence follows that. The wind moves again, slower, like it knows it's no longer just passing through. The first shot doesn't come with warning. It comes with a sound that splits the air like something breaking in half. The twins flinch at the same time. The boy grabs the girl's arm. The cowboy moves instantly, pulling them back toward the house. "Stay behind me," he says. "No," the girl answers immediately. Now he snaps. "No." The sheriff stands near the well, gun raised, face tight with something that is no longer control. "This is your last chance," he calls out. The cowboy doesn't answer. He just pushes the twins toward the porch. The boy stumbles. "You'll die," the cowboy says. "Not hiding," the girl replies. Another shot cracks. Wood splinters near the porch post. The boy drops instinctively. The girl doesn't. The sheriff's voice cuts through the yard. "Bring them out." The cowboy steps forward. "They're not going anywhere." The sheriff fires again. This time, the bullet hits the porch railing, snapping it in half. The twins flinch, but the steps down instead of back. The boy grabs her hand. "Don't," he whispers. "I'm not going back," she says. The cowboy turns sharply. "Get inside." "No, you don't understand." "I understand enough." She interrupts. The sheriff reloads slowly, deliberately. "You think this ends with words?" The girl takes another step forward. "Yes." The boy's voice shakes. "This is crazy." The girl looks at him. "No, this is finally honest." Another man moves behind the sheriff, raising his weapon. The cowboy sees it and reacts instantly, pushing the twins down as a shot fires past them, hitting the wall behind. "Down," the cowboy shouts. The boy drops completely now. The girl crouches but doesn't crawl away. The sheriff steps closer. "You should have stayed quiet." The girl laughs once, sharp and broken. "We did stay quiet. Look what it did." Gunfire erupts again. The cowboy fires back now. The sound changes everything. No longer warning. Now it's collision. The boy covers his ears. "This is too much," he shouts. The girl grabs his wrist. "Stay with me." "I am. Don't move." "I won't." The cowboy reloads quickly, eyes scanning, calculating. He moves between shots, shielding them without turning his back. The sheriff yells, "End this." The men spread out, circling, The cowboy calls out without looking back. "Stay low!" The girl doesn't. She rises slightly, eyes locked on the sheriff. "This ends tonight." The words hesitates for half a second. That half second changes everything. The boy sees it too. "Do it!" he shouts, not even knowing what he means anymore. Another shot fires. This one hits the ground near them, dirt exploding upward. The twins fall back instinctively this time, but the girl pushes herself up again immediately. The cowboy grabs her shoulder. "You'll get killed!" "So will we if we stay the same." The sheriff advances again. "You don't get to decide what this is." The girl shouts back. "I already did." The boy stands now too, shaking but upright. "We're done being moved." The cowboy looks at them both, something shifting in his face again. Not hesitation, not fear, something closer to acceptance. The sheriff raises his gun again. Last warning. The girl steps forward into the open. "Stop warning us!" A shot fires. The cowboy reacts instantly, pulling her back just as it hits the ground where she stood. The boy grabs her. "You almost, I know," she says. "Then stop!" "No." The sheriff fires again. This time, the cowboy fires back immediately. One of the men behind the sheriff drops. The air changes. No more control. Only collapse. The boy is shaking now. "We can't win this!" The girl looks at him. "We already are." The cowboy moves them toward the house again, forcing position. Inside, he orders. "No," she says again, but this time she's breathing harder. "You want to live?" he snaps. "Yes." "Then move." The girl hesitates. Just 1 second. The sheriff sees it. He steps forward. The cowboy reacts. Everything breaks at once. Gunfire fills the yard again. Wood cracks. Dirt explodes. The twins drop behind the porch steps this time. The cowboy fires twice more, pushing the sheriff's men back. The boy looks at the girl. "I'm scared," he admits. "So am I," she says. "Then why are we still here?" She looks at him, eyes steady even now. "Because leaving didn't stop anything." The cowboy yells over the gunfire. "Stay down." The girl suddenly rises again, voice breaking through everything. "No more running!" The sheriff turns toward her. The cowboy shouts. "No!" But it's too late. The girl stands fully now, shaking but upright, facing everything at once. "I said it ends tonight." The yard goes silent for half a second. Then everything moves again. The gunfire doesn't stop all at once. It fades in pieces, like the world forgetting how to keep shouting. The sheriff is the last one still standing in the yard, breathing hard, coat torn, badge hanging loose like it no longer belongs to anything. The men behind him are down or gone. The ground is broken with dust and silence. The boy is on his knees behind the porch steps. The girl is beside him, one arm still shaking. The cowboy stands in front of them, gun lowered now, eyes locked on the sheriff. The sheriff sways slightly. "This isn't done," he says. The cowboy doesn't answer. The sheriff tries again, voice weaker now. "You don't win this way." The girl speaks first. "It's over." The sheriff laughs once, but it breaks halfway through. "No, it's not." The boy lifts his head slowly. "Then what is it?" The sheriff opens his mouth, but nothing comes out. The cowboy finally speaks. A beginning. The word lands strange after everything. Not soft, not hopeful. Just final in a different direction. The sheriff looks at him. "You think this fixes anything?" "No," the cowboy says. "It ends what you started." The sheriff's hand twitches near his side, but there's nothing left to reach for. The girl stands slowly now, still unsteady but upright. "You don't get to come back from this," she says. The sheriff looks at her. "I already have." The boy steps closer to her, voice low. "Is he gone?" The cowboy doesn't answer right away. He watches the sheriff carefully, then shifts his weight slightly. The sheriff drops to one knee. Then the other. The yard goes completely still. The wind feels different now, not gone. Just quieter. The sheriff exhales once, sharp and uneven, then collapses forward into the dirt. No final speech, no final command. Just the body letting go of what it was holding. Silence spreads through the yard slowly, like it doesn't trust itself yet. The boy stares. "It's really done?" The cowboy lowers his weapon fully. Yes, the girl doesn't look at the sheriff anymore. She looks at the house. The boy follows her gaze. What now? No one answers immediately. The cowboy walks forward a few steps, stopping near the broken well. He looks down into it, then back at the house. It doesn't end clean, he says. The boy frowns. What doesn't? All of it, the cowboy replies. The girl wipes dust from her face with the back of her hand. They're gone, she says. The cowboy nods once. Some are. The boy looks around the yard like he's expecting something else to move. Is anyone else coming? The cowboy shakes his head. Not today. The girl exhales slowly. That's enough. The boy looks toward the house again, quieter now. It still feels wrong. The cowboy doesn't deny it. It will for a while. The girl takes a step forward toward the porch. It doesn't own us anymore. The cowboy watches her closely. No, he agrees. The boy stands too, slower, legs still shaking slightly. Do we stay? He asks. The question sits there longer than any gunshot. The cowboy doesn't answer right away. He looks at the house, then at the ground, then at the twins. The girl answers before he can. We rebuild. The boy turns to her. Rebuild what? Everything they broke. The cowboy finally speaks. That takes time. The girl nods. We have time now. The boy looks uncertain. I don't know how. You learn, she says. The cowboy steps closer to the porch, looking at the broken wood, the marks on the wall inside, the house that still feels too full of what it remembers. It won't forget, he says. The girl doesn't look away from it. Neither will we. The boy walks beside her now. So what do we do first? The cowboy looks at them both. We clean it. Then the boy asks. We fix what can be fixed, the girl says. And what can't, he asks. The cowboy answers that one. You leave it where it is. But you don't let it decide what comes next. The boy nods slowly, like that makes more sense than anything else today. The girl steps onto the porch first. It creaks under her weight but holds. The boy follows. The cowboy stays at the bottom step for a moment longer, watching them. The girl looks back at him. You coming? He hesitates. For the first time, it doesn't look like a man choosing silence. It looks like a man choosing whether he belongs anywhere anymore. Then he steps up, one step at a time. The house waits, but it doesn't feel like it's watching them the same way anymore. Not anymore, not in charge. Just there, and for the first time, that is enough. The house is quieter now, but it is not empty of memory. It still holds the weight of everything that happened inside it, like it's learning how to exist without commanding anyone inside it. The porch boards are fixed where they can be fixed. The broken rail is tied back into place with rope and scrap wood. Nothing is perfect. Nothing is pretending to be. The twins stand in front of the house. The cowboy stands a few steps behind them. The wind moves through the yard, slower than before, like it is no longer rushing to witness anything. The boy looks at the ground. What happens now? The girl answers without turning. We stay, just stay, we build. The cowboy watches them but doesn't interrupt. The boy kicks at a loose stone. Build what? The girl finally turns to him. Ours, that word sits between them for a moment. Not loud, not dramatic. Just real enough to hold weight. The boy looks toward the well. It is still open, still marked, but no longer something pulling at them the same way. Feels like it's still watching, he says. It always will, the cowboy says quietly. The girl nods once, but it doesn't decide anymore. A pause, then footsteps on the porch as the boy walks closer to the girl. What do we call this? He asks. She thinks for a moment. Not theirs, she says. The boy nods slowly. That's enough. The cowboy steps forward now, standing closer to them than before, but still not in front. The girl looks at him. Say our names. The boy turns to him too. Say them. The cowboy doesn't answer at first. His eyes move between them, like he's measuring something he never thought he would be asked to give. The girl doesn't repeat it louder. She doesn't need to. Say them, she says again. Silence follows, not empty, not heavy like before, just waiting. The cowboy finally speaks. Not fast, not rehearsed. Like each word is something he hasn't carried in a long time, he says their names. The boy exhales slowly when he hears his. Like something inside him unclenches but doesn't disappear. The girl closes her eyes for a second when she hears hers. Not breaking, not fading, just acknowledging. When she opens them again, she looks different, not changed into someone else, just fully there. The wind moves through the yard again. The boy looks at the house. "What about him?" he asks, meaning the sheriff. Meaning everything that led here, the cowboy answers before the girl can. "Gone," the boy frowns. "Just like that?" The cowboy shakes his head slightly. "No, not just like that." The girl steps forward a little. "Like it ended." The boy looks at her. "And it stays ended?" She nods. "If we keep it that way, that answer sits better with him. Not perfect, but real." The cowboy turns slightly toward the land behind them. "There'll be more work," he says. The girl doesn't hesitate. "Good." The boy looks at both of them. "We stay together?" The girl answers immediately. "Yes." The cowboy nods once. "Yes." A long silence follows. Not the kind that hides fear. The kind that comes after it. The boy looks at his hands. "We're not," he starts, then stops. The girl finishes it for him. "For sale." The words land and stay there. The cowboy adds quietly, "No one is." The wind moves through the yard again, but this time it doesn't feel like it carries anything heavy with it. Just air. Just movement. The boy looks at the house one more time. "It still feels strange," he admits. The girl nods. "It should." The cowboy looks at both of them, then at the ground they are standing on. "It won't always." The boy looks up at him. "Promise?" The cowboy doesn't answer quickly. Not because he doubts it, because he knows better than promises. Instead, he says, "We make it that way." The girl steps closer to the boy, shoulder touching his. "Together," she says. He repeats. The cowboy stands with them now. Not behind them anymore, not in front. Just there, the wind passes again through the open land. The house stands behind them, no longer a place of command, just a place that remains. The boy looks forward, the girl does too. The cowboy does not move, and the silence that follows is no longer what was taken from them. It is what they finally own.